Hello everybody, Shadefyre here, and welcome back to the final station. I didn't think we'd be revisiting this game, but here we are with the beginning of a playthrough of The Only Traitor, a story DLC that was released a little while back, which I hope actually does expand upon some of the events of the main game, since it does take place at the same time and is about a different character's travels across the land. This time in a car instead of a train. But yeah, I hope it does answer some questions left by the main story, because obviously one of my big complaints about the actual main game was just the overall vagueness. And I hope this doesn't just introduce a bunch more questions that won't be answered. Also, I didn't mention it that much throughout the LP, but I really like the music in the final station. And I hope that this has a lot of good new music. I mean, this intro theme is not bad. It's kind of more melancholy than the main one, but the main game does have a very good intro theme. Anyway, let's just get into the DLC. Unlike my playthrough of the final station, this DLC is going to be blind, so I don't know what we're going to expect. Alright, so I know melee is more effective in this, which is why we have an actual melee weapon. Probably take me a moment to get used to this, but again, final station was never very complicated. And Vermin White, of course, was the council member who turned out to be one of the Ascended, as I took to calling them. One of the people who are not turned into shadow zombies by the gas. So just like the main game, we can take people with us, but from what I read, we can only have one person with us in the car at a time, since it is a two-seater. People who worship the maybe aliens, maybe dimensional travelers, maybe made-up government experiment. We never even clarified who they, the real they, were. The ones that destroyed the Guardian and presumably deployed the zombie gas. Alright, well here's our method of transport. I assume this will be like the main game, in that we will travel from place to place. Though I wonder if we're going to have to do any car maintenance instead of train maintenance. We can bust through this wall. And I guess we'll still be able to go into towns because we're still getting money for some of these supplies. Already some more mentions of crimes. There was a whole sort of subplot of some sort of heist in the first game, and it's unclear what that was actually really referring to. You know, some people use that as a proof that our character was actually one of those criminals, and the whole game was actually sort of a metaphor in his head as he escaped from prison, but I don't know. What's with these suits here? Alright, well, I guess we can head out now. Not going this way. need 12 and 10 to make one medkit? Well, one of them was dead, at least two of them were shadowed. Sectarians. They didn't really talk much about there being any sort of cult of these aliens. But here, just them saying that kind of implies that there is some sort of organization for what was coming. It kind of looks like we can fit a second person next to Harry here. Alright, I guess all the dialogue's done. So we don't have to do any management stuff, it seems. And once the dialogue's done, it just gives you a handy skip to the next destination. Head into the Badlands. I actually did miss a little bit of that dialogue there because I was focusing on the crafting, but I think they mentioned that we're going to try to get into a factory. So at its core, it seems the same. We go from place to place collecting supplies. Occasionally, we'll probably run into a place where we can buy stuff. And I guess, yeah, the melee is definitely going to play more of a role because we don't even have a gun yet. I mean, as I kind of discovered, melee became pretty useful in the main game against any of the non-special sorts of infected. And it seems like instead of needing to get a blocker key, because obviously we're driving so we don't have to worry about the trains, we just need to collect these 3 supplies at each location. Those crawlers are new. He's a better medic and better crafting, but not as social as Harry. I don't know if we just replaced Harry or if we fit both of them in there. Return of the Guardian that never actually showed up. Okay, this explodes. Wasn't really a use for it. Well, that was a pretty short stop if that's all there was to it. And I didn't find any gas. Ah, but you can go in the other direction, which is not something any of the maps did in the main game. You always went to the right and then circled back. Let's check upstairs first. Okay. I mean, combat was never really that difficult in this game to begin with. Still can't get out these windows, though. do have some ammo now, but still no gun. I assume we'll probably find one either in this map or the next one. There's a neat little tech windmill in the background. A lot of the background art was pretty cool too during the transitions and stuff. What exactly is this thing that we're in? I guess this is actually one of the same things that we're looking at. One of these high-tech windmills. Didn't we just come from this way? It stinks in here, like a corpse. I wonder why. And gasoline. Double kill. Another one of these guys are gonna fall down. It also seems that they're introducing dangerous enemies right off the bat. Because, I mean, those little fast guys didn't show up until later in the primary campaign, but here, I guess our more effective melee means it's fine for them to throw that stuff at us sooner. Alright, we'll see where this takes us. If it takes us to a friendly station, we'll probably end it here. Otherwise, we'll probably go through another quick station. Stop. I suppose their crafting ability just determines how many materials we need for crafting. And I suppose heal is them healing us, not us healing them. Wasn't it mentioned in the main game that it wasn't practical for anyone to own a car, so trains were the only method of quick travel? And that there wasn't really gasoline anymore because they used that new material? I was gonna say Illyrium, but that's the wrong sci-fi setting. Otherwise, I'll leave you behind like that other guy that I seem to already know, but had worse stats than you. Okay, I guess it's another hostile area. Shelter. I wonder if that's the shelter, the one that we actually went to already. Which sealed themselves off without enough food to actually survive. And Higgs, pregnant. Weren't these the prisoners near the end of the game? The ones that were turned into different kinds of infected? You know, one of them turned into a fast one of them turned into an exploder. Alright, so clearly they were experimenting with this gas before any of this happened. To see what happens to people. And knew that the visitation was coming. Oh. If I don't spam melee, you really do get killed quick, though. So do a charge up for the fast one, and then just wail on this guy. Problem is if you wail, you move forward with a swing, so I kept clipping into him there and then taking a lot of damage. I used to work here at this weird prison facility. I guess this is why we are the only traitor? He's really good at crafting. But he's also our old boss. Just chilling with this guy locked in the room next to you. Not really concerned at all. That note we read kind of implied that they just dumped some of the infected into the shelter. I don't know if we'll take him with us. Electrum, that's what the special material is. The one that powered an entire city before we took the core to put it in the Guardian. So I don't think this was the main shelter, this is just one of the smaller ones. And yeah, presumably they released specimens in there and everybody died. And they just wanted to study the effects. Okay, got a gun. Seems like a different gun than we had. Kind of looks like a revolver from the way he reloaded it there. Probably has the same effect, though. Alright, remember these guys. Definitely sounds like a stronger gun. Food. I mean, I guess food is not going to be a problem like it was in the main game here. We don't have to balance keeping people alive. And it also means we don't have to save our medkits. Well, I could have saved it, I guess, and had the guy heal me instead. Herman's photon oscillator. Decontamination room. Ah, spitter. That's new. I was gonna say, aren't we supposed to have like a thing that shows our aim? But no, that's because I had a laser sight upgrade later in the game. There's the Electrum. .421 Kev, which destroys the bond between the Electrum particles. Is that a good thing? We're gonna leave that guy behind, even though he has better stats, because screw that guy. Do you have any info about the shelter? You know, the one that we were just at? It's not completely clear yet if the Visitation has started by this point. I mean, I guess it already has because we're already fighting infected. Alright, well, I think that'll do it for our first foray into the Only Traitor. Seems cool so far. Different, for sure, with these double directional maps and none of the train maintenance stuff or people management. And I'm curious to see where this goes in regards to story stuff, because we haven't really seen too much of that yet. We don't know really who we are, or why we're doing what we're doing, why we have a car that works. But I guess we will find out in the future. I've been Shadefyre, and I hope you'll join me next time with some more of The Only Traitor. Until then, you folks all take care.